Hey Ricky, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Just fine.
Good.
So this is our first session of Real Talk with Ricky, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And you're going to be delivering messages about important to people with disabilities, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's just introduce ourselves. So I'm Noreen Jalloway Gill. I'm the executive director of Imagine Enterprises. Ricky Broussard is our peer support leader for Imagine and has a lot of great information to share with people with disabilities and their family members and kind of that life in the community. So, Ricky, tell us a little bit about Real Talk with Ricky and what you're planning on doing.
Thank you. What I want people to know, especially people with disabilities, I want them to know they they can they can live live on their own with the supports and living in community just like I do.
Right. Yeah. And you said with the supports, with the right supports in place, right?
Yes.
And that's because there's a lot that goes on with living in the community. And you've had a lot of success over the
Hmm.
last, oh my gosh, 10, 15 years or so.
Yes.
Okay. And so you're going to share a little bit about that. And what are the and so your job and as a peer support leader at Imagine Enterprises, what does that allow you to do with other people with disabilities?
That allows me to go into the schools and talk to the students and uh, give them a little insight about my life every day.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And to help them through a process also of figuring out what's next and what's the best thing to do.
Yes.
So let's get started with this. And what this says the five principles of self-determination. Tell us a little bit about that.
The five principles of self-determination, it's like a scarf. And and we're gonna talk about all these, but the main one I'm really gonna talk about today is authority.
Authority, right. So the other ones we have here are, you mentioned this word earlier.
Support, confirmation, authority, responsibility, and freedom.
Right. So over the next few months, you think we'll be able to get all of those topics done?
Yes, yes, yes.
Good, because I'm hoping this is going to be fun and we'll be able to share information with people. So that's really, really good. So today we're going to focus on authority. And so tell us a little bit more about that and what do you mean by authority?
Authority is mean having the control over your life and having the resources so you can work.
Right. Yeah, so it's control over money, resources, works. And so in order to have control, it seems to me that you need to be able to make decisions.
Yes, you need to make the very important decisions, but when you get ready to make those decisions, you have people that you know and you trust, and they can they can give you the pros and the cons, but at the end of the day, I make the final decision.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's kind of something that you learn over time is how to make decisions. So I kind of think that icon, that drawing, you had that made for this, right? Right.
Right,
That's about you sitting in that chair.
right, right.
So tell me a little bit about that picture. I love the cat.
The cap is like the sergeant or the general of making sure that that to let them know that I'm in control.
Right. Okay. And that's that authority, that
Yes.
decision-making piece. Well, so whenever we see that icon, then we should actually think about authority,
Hmm.
yeah, decision making,
Yes.
yeah, and making decisions that are important to you.
Yes.
Okay. Um, so a little bit more about that in terms of making decisions. I know that you worked with the Kansas University of Kansas with
Yes.
Carrie Sjogren
Hmm.
and Evan Evan Dean. And so and their work on self-determination. And this was kind of one of the pictures that they helped us draw
Hmm.
and working with other people. And
Hmm.
so that idea that you decide,
This
act, and believe. Tell us a little bit more about what this means.
when what this means to me is, I decide, you know, how I want my, how I want to take control over my life, and then also too, the next thing I have to do is I have to act on it, and put it into motion. And as I put it into motion, I have to believe in myself.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I really love that word to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you, I mean, that a lot of people talk about having hope, that
Yes.
that vision for the future. But what you're talking about is you've decided on what you want.
Mm-hmm.
You've decided what actions you have to
Take.
take,
Yeah.
and then to believe in yourself that you
Mm-hmm.
can actually achieve this. What are you making these decisions and these steps by yourself?
No, I have I have people in my circle that I know and that I trust. And like I said earlier, they tell me about the pros and the cons. And then after I hear both sides, that's that's when I make the final decision after I do that. And after it can be a good decision, it can be a good decision, or if it's not a good decision, and it's a bad decision, it doesn't matter. After I made the decision, even though if it's a good one, that's good. But if it's a bad one, I have to deal with the final decision I made.
Yeah, there's consequences in that. The other words in here are opportunities. So making that decision to do things, you're looking for those opportunities,
Right.
right? Um, and that could be any kind of opportunity,
Hmm.
like where you live,
Where you live, where you work, or where you play.
yeah, or even who your friends are,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Is
Hmm.
there and how you develop that circle of support that you referred to. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, the word instruction is interesting because we're always learning, aren't we?
We all learn every day, and if we don't learn something new every day, I think there's a problem. There's nothing wrong with learning something new every day, because once you do that, you can act on it, and then you can believe in it, and then you can put it in put it in to the action to move forward.
Yeah, to move forward. Yeah, yeah. It becomes a part of your life.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And a very important word that you've used several times in there is the word supports, having
Hmm.
the right supports. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes those decisions are really hard in terms of even finding and deciding, do I have the right support to meet the goal that I've just
Yeah.
created, that you've just decided on?
Hmm.
Super. Well, and that's this is something that we'll reflect on throughout the presentation as well as the rest of our self-determination
Yes.
classes. When you talk about the supports, here's a few of the people that you have in this your support circle of support in terms of decision making. Tell me a little bit about that. That seems like a lot of people. Is that everybody?
No, this is just a part of people in my circle that I work with every day.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, we're not going to have time to go through all of those people, but I see a couple of important folks there. You have Georgiana Santarelli in your circle of support, and also Robert Kuykendall. Tell us a little bit about Georgiana and Robert and what they do in
Uh,
your circle.
okay. Uh, uh, Miss George, she is my supervisor, and we work together. And what I mean by we work together, we go into the schools, and we talk about self advocacy, and then we also talk about self determination, and we talk to the students about clear exploration, and then we also talk to them about supported employment.
Oh, okay. So you're talking to young people about their future.
Yes.
Right, right.
Hmm.
And helping them build their self-advocacy skills
Right.
so that they are already learning how to do decision making.
Hmm.
Right.
So once they graduate or leave that 18 plus, they will have the tools to work with, and to they know that they can get support from other agencies to help them with their dreams or goals.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, and so one of the things about people in your circle of support, because I also know you have direct support staff that
Hmm.
like Robert and Ronald,
Hmm.
yeah, that are helping you in your physical
Yeah.
support needs, right?
Yes.
But Georgiana and Robert and several other people in this circle of support, they are not paid to be in your circle.
Mm.
They're there because of relationships with
Yes.
work,
Hmm.
or how else? How else are some of these
uh,
folks?
and other people in my circle, they may help me um with my banking and stuff like that.
Okay, banking and your yeah, financial support needs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that reminds me of this gentleman right here, Tom. Let's
Yes.
talk a little bit about Tom and maybe what is probably we'll talk about him and what is probably the biggest decision you have ever made. And let's spend some time thinking through that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, with with Tom, when I found out that that my name came up for the consumer directed services, I got my team together, and what I asked my team to do, I gave everyone a task to deal with, and one of the tasks that I asked Tom to do was to one find an apartment that was wheelchair accessible, and and I asked for him to make sure that the shower was which wheelchair accessible, where I could roll my shower chair in there. And then he went to talk to the manager, and said I had a friend that he needs an accessible apartment where he can roll in and move around in the house. And so he did that. And once he did that, I had other um, people in my circle do other specific tasks, like help me with my first month's rent, and then help me with getting my first round of groceries and stuff like that.
So you're in your circle of support, and what you got, you had been living in a group home, right?
Yes.
And before that, you lived in larger facilities,
Yes.
right? So
Hmm.
you had spent most of your life living under
Yeah.
total care.
Yes.
And then you received the HCS waiver,
Yes.
and you decided, oh, I want consumer directed services.
Hmm.
But Tom, who is actually a friend,
Yes.
right? He's not paid to be with you,
No.
was the gentleman that found this apartment
Yes.
that this is the first apartment that you moved to,
Yes.
right?
My very first apartment.
Yeah. So what an amazing thing for a friend to do.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of people don't have that circle, and but then the other part that you did, that with the help from your circle, was making the decision to move
Yeah.
from a group home
Hmm.
to your own apartment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when I first told told my circle support team that that I wanted to do that, they said, Ricky, what if you fall out of bed, and what if the house catches on fire?
So
I
not everybody was all excited about.
Yeah,
They were coming up with
yeah, yeah,
what if?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I said, what I want you to do is just give me a chance. And so for me to feel safe and my circle support team to feel safe, what I did was I had to, go to the police department, and they had me fill out some paperwork so they can put it into the computer and all that. So if because I told them that you know I have my staff, but but before my before my staff leave at night, they make sure that I have my cell phone, and they make sure I have something to drink. So if I wake up in the middle of the night, I get thirsty, I have that. But the most important thing is, one, that the fire department and the police department, they know if I call and and something happens, and my staff can't get to me right away, they know that they can go ahead and come in and kick the door in.
Right. Yeah. And that the person who's living there is Ricky Broussard,
Yes.
right? And he's going to need help. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Because your chances of being able to crawl out of bed and get into the chair by yourself,
is not going to happen.
yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to need that help,
I
that
need
physical
that support.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a lot. And the other person that's in this picture is actually Miss Kelly. And Kelly is actually a person who helps you with all of your Social Security
Yes.
benefits and keeping you eligible for the Medicaid waiver,
Yes.
especially since you're working full time. And I think you have a comment about that in a later slide. So
Yes.
we'll get to that. So yeah, so that picture that you just painted for us about your apartment, I mean, all the things that you just said, that sounds like you're taking a lot of risk.
Yes.
And I know you like to talk about those issues of people taking risks.
Yes. And it's okay to take risks, because we all take risk every day.
Yeah.
And because we could leave out our apartment or our house right now, and something can happen. But that we all take risk every day, because people have accidents, and we don't look for them to happen, but they do happen.
Yeah.
And that's something we deal with every day. So you know I I put things in place, one, so I can feel safe, and two, so my circle support team know that I'm safe, and that they gave me a chance, to live on my own.
Right. So and there's a certain dignity to that as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So one of this particular picture that our story that you wanted to share had to do with money.
Yeah. And everybody knows, because I tell them that, one, I'm not good with math, and so I have people in my circle that I know that are that's good with math, and I one, I you have to trust people, because one, money is involved, and I know for myself that I'm not good with money, and so I have to rely on people that I know that are good with money to, tell me, what I need to do because I'm not good with math.
Yeah. So the question though would be is, especially things like that, things that you're not really good at,
Mm.
particularly. Who then is making the decision? Is it you or the person, the other person?
No, we're both. Well, whoever I'm with at that time, they're telling me the good things about it and the bad things about it.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, I make the final decision.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And knowing that you're making that final decision.
It could be a good one or it could be a bad
So
one.
yeah. So yeah. And the range of good and bad is always pretty broad.
Right.
So let's spend a little bit more time talking about that money issue and you've already talked about that's not necessarily something that you're really good at, but you get a lot of support for doing it. And to so that so tell me a little bit about you're living on your own. You have a salary. You're living on your own. You're in your own apartment. Do you have a budget? What is it that you do? And
Yeah, yes, I have two budgets, and one, I have the consumer director services, and that's one of the budgets that I have. I pay my staff out of.
okay, so
And
that's the one that said that's the Medicaid waiver. You're paying Robert and Ronald and your
yes.
staff for their direct support.
Hmm.
Okay.
And I have a annual meeting every year, and with that annual meeting, I have a budget that I pay my staff out of, and they're able to work with me, and they get paid,
Right.
and so that out of that that's what my staff get paid on. Now, when I'm working with Imagine, that that's that's for me to pay my bills, and I can get my groceries and
That's
stuff.
your salary.
That yes,
Uh,
that's my salary.
yeah, right. And so and you still get a Social Security
Yes.
check
Hmm.
that's called Title II. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have a salary. So that pays your rent, your groceries, your cable for all those
Uh,
football games.
my cable and all of that, and then I also pay for my insurance and on my car and all of that.
Well, cool. Yeah. Well, let's talk about this because those are some pretty big expenses. And actually, one of the things that you have that is very interesting is that you decided to have your own van.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you've gotten some help with that, but
Yes.
hey, you're there. There's a picture
Hmm.
of you and
Hmm.
hanging out. So it must be really expensive.
Yes, it is expensive, but I wanted my own van so I can go to work and travel for work and do other things like everybody else. But the main thing that I needed was a van,
Mhm.
so I can go to work.
Right, right. And then, of course, you have so many other. You can be so much more independent if you
Yes.
have your
Mhm.
own vehicle. Do you drive your
No,
vehicle?
no, 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 I do not drive. I have my staff that drive for me, or if I don't have my staff, I have friends that can drive for me.
Right, right. Our family.
Or family.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the van actually belongs to you.
Yes.
Right.
The I pay for the insurance, I pay for the gas, and when I needed for it to get repaired, I pay for the repairs too.
Right, right. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's good to have a job
Yes.
that helps you earn the money so
Yeah.
you can keep up with that.
Hmm.
So have you ever tried public transportation? Has that been a good option for you in the past before you had your van?
But before I had my van, I used to use public transportation, and there would be times that they would get me there early, or they would get me there late.
Yeah.
And then because you have to arrange for them the time and the place where you wanted to be picked up from, and the time that you wanted to be dropped off, and the time for you to be for them to come back and pick you up.
Yeah, it's a lot of work to
Yeah.
organize it, but it also is but the opportunity that once it presented itself for you to have your own van, that's a pretty something
that
that you definitely were able to capitalize on and use your circle of support to.
that was, I think, for me, that was a huge step for me to, have my own van, where I can have more freedom to go places where I wanted to go, and I didn't have to wait on transportation to come pick me up.
Yeah, yeah, big, big, big difference. So anyway, the next picture is a little bit of a history, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So basically, until the age of 39, yeah,
Yeah.
you were in facilities to
And,
being cared for.
yeah. And I left home at the age of 10, and I didn't want to, and my family didn't want me to leave either. But I was getting too big for my family to help me out. And at this time, none of the group homes, they weren't around yet. So I lived in four large facilities, um ICF facilities, for people with disabilities.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And so that the decision making between having everything done for you versus from the time that you were 10 years old till
mhm,
you were 39 and you
mhm, yeah,
left the ICF and Mar group home and moved to your apartment.
yeah.
That has really changed,
Yes,
right?
right.
Yeah, that 24/7 has really been was very, very different than
Yeah.
what you have
Oh
now.
yeah.
So going back to to the slide from our friends at KU, decide,
And
act,
act and believe.
right,
And
right,
and you have to decide what you want to do, and you have to act on the things that you want to do. And then after you act on it, you have to believe that it can be done.
right. Well, and I bet that you had decided that you wanted to leave the group home
Yes.
long before you
Yes.
actually did, right?
Hmm.
You were on the waiting list
Yes. And
for the HCS waiver, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and for the HCS waiting list, those lists, it's long.
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate uh to be on the list for 5 years, because
Oh, I thought it was
um,
longer than that, but
yeah.
that's all right.
but
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But once once I found out that my name came up, I one I decided what I wanted, and two, and then that's when I got my circle support team together
Right.
and say, okay, I want to do this.
Yeah.
So what's our next step for this to happen?
Yeah, because you had actually started meeting with the people in your
Yes.
circle. You had Miss Betty and Miss Virginia.
Yeah. And at that, in the best time to meet people. For me, it was like real early in the morning before everybody, went to work.
Mhm.
And we we said, okay, let's see if we can get everybody
Yeah.
at breakfast and tell them to come have some coffee.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll talk when we get on the topic of support.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll talk more about that, how to enlist friends, how
yeah,
to get people to
yes,
come and join you in your effort on the decisions that you've made so
mm-hmm,
that you can move forward. That in fact will be our next topic, right?
yeah,
It'll be support
yeah,
as a part of the self-determination.
yes,
And basically just a reminder that when you're talking about authority, you are asking people to give you
dignity of risk.
right, yeah, to give you a chance.
To
That's
give me that chance, and yeah, and I know it's a risk, and it's a risk that we take every day.
right. Well, everybody does, and
Mm-hmm.
that you're asking for the same opportunity.
Yeah, you know, I'm you know, I'm asking for the same opportunity just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And if I could do it, anybody can do it. Long as you have the support you need and the right people in your circle.
Right. Well, you know what? I think we have come to the end of our 30 minutes. So we want to say thank you to everybody. And if they want to
Yes.
be in touch,
Yes. Thanks everybody. And if you would like to ask me questions, you feel free to reach out to me. You can email me or you can call me.
okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.